What's up, everybody? This is King El Bey. I'm coming to y'all because I want everybody to understand um, Ghost in the System. Um, it's a series of videos. If you look, I have a series of videos on Ghost in the System on my YouTube channel on the Moorish Universal Society of Tribes. That's where you need to go to and watch Ghost in the System 1 through 20. We're at episode 20 right now. Um, and you can watch Ghost in the System and all the videos associated with Ghost in the System. I came up with Ghost in the System. It's a comprehensive way of looking at this by utilizing certain legal strategies and constitutional and contractual safeguards in order to get yourself a remedy and understanding how private and public interface and how they don't mix, but how property enter to the public. So I wanted to go over that, and I wanted to touch on this so y'all guys can see. So you need to go to my YouTube channel up here. Go to Moorish Universal Society of Tribes. You see all these videos I got. I got a lot of videos, and go through the Ghost in the System series first, and then watch all the stuff. I got a lot of stuff about complaints and different stuff. I break this down so people can understand this. Um, like I said, showing you guys how to move prospectively in the court. So let's get started. So first thing I want to talk about is this. Right now, it seems like it's apparent that this is what's going on. Mike makes right. Mike makes right is an aphorism on the origin of morality with the descriptive and prescriptive sense. And descriptively asserts that a society view of right and wrong is determined by those in power with a meaning similar to history and written by the victors. That is, although people have their personal ideas of good and only those strong enough to overcome obstacles and enemies can put their ideas into effect and spread their own standards to society at large. So it seems like this is what we're going through right now. And I just wanted to emphasize that. Now, let's talk about privatization. No, let's start here. Got to start here. Got to understand state planning. Estate planning, okay, it's about you from the time of you decide to have children until until you were born, until you die. Somebody had planned you to come into the world, and then you finish up planning out everything going to run by creating an estate in which you plan from A to Z, from life to death. So that's a simple in a nutshell. So estate planning involves planning for how an individual assets will be preserved, managed, and distributed after death. It also takes into account the management of individuals' properties and financial obligations in the event they become incapacitated. So just let me say this. When you get estate planning, the first thing I teach you, this is the most important document out of all things. I don't care about nationality. First, now this is the first thing, a will. This is the most important document out of all things. In the Quran, it tell you you need to have a will. So when we talk about estate planning, I just want you to understand it teach you from life to death. You should have a plan for your life and how everything, your property, should be managed and who has the right to manage your property. And it should help you understand how to build wealth. Somebody should be teaching you from birth to how to become more financially secure. So the methodology of this, of creating ghosts in the system, is put a network of people together to become a financial powerhouse, to create a financial hub and a new powerhouse. So the first strategy I talk about is privatization. Public to private privatization versus corporate privatization. Corporate privatization, on the other hand, allows a company to restructure its operation without needs to taking shareholders into account. This often appeals to companies if leadership wants to make structural changes to would negatively impact shareholders. Corporate privatization sometimes take place after a merger or following a tendered offer to purchase a company's shares. In order to be considered a privately owned in order to be considered privately owned, a company cannot get financing through public trading by a stock market exchange. So this is what it's going to say. You can't get financing through any type of public vehicle, meaning that you can't get any kind of government assistance, because if you do, they're going to claim jurisdiction. They're going to claim some kind of personal jurisdiction. So I teach you how to come out of that and try to utilize certain things in a particular way where you can still benefit. And these are all legal strategies. Okay. Asset protection. This is nothing. All this stuff that I'm talking about, they already defined. This is stuff that they already doing. So asset protection is a set of legal techniques and bodies of statutory and common law dealings with protecting assets of individuals and business entities from civil money judgments. Okay? The goal of asset protection planning is to insulate assets from claims of creditors without perjury or tax evasion. Do you see that? So this is some of the methodology that I teach. Because when you get with Ghosts in the System, you're going to get with Keng El Bey. This is a mentorship. For what you pay and the mentorship that you get out of this is phenomenal. So we're going to talk about constitutional and contractual safeguards. So let's talk about safeguard. So when you have a contractual safeguard, that's something that provides a protection against attacks, loss, or injury. So when you put a contractual safeguard together, along with all the infrastructures with the asset, that's a part of the asset protection, you better find yourself in a more position where your property is more protected, because you understand what to draft and how to look at your property and to protect your property. So you got to understand contract, and I tell people contract, contract, contract. If you listen to me, I talk about contract, 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 contract. Let's move on. So we did privatization, asset protection, estate planning, and we did contractual safeguards. So let's talk about this. Tax avoidance. The process whereby an individual plans his or her finances so as to apply all exemptions and deductions provided by tax law to reduce tax liability. Now, if anybody heard me talk about taxes and you watch my videos, I show you where tax, another word for tax is servitude. A license, another word for servitude. These are servitude conditions based upon that you are being franchise taxed, or in order to be able to participate in a game called life, to work as a professional or do any other commercial dealings. So you got to understand that. So when you get this, what I do is I teach also strategic alliances, in the sense that I bring people together. We talk about credit. I teach you how to keep public and private away from each other. I teach you how to utilize certain things in a way where you can always get a benefit. I teach you these contractual techniques to help you safeguard yourself and how to limit any and all tax liability. So when you get this system, I teach you about all the enough of the constitutional safeguards that you need that's in the Constitution that a lot of people need to look at under the Constitution that I talk about, and this one and in our state constitution where I also talk about. We go through all of this, and you guys need to understand this. You need to read your Constitution. You need to study it. It's not super long, and you need to understand what's going on in this verbiage. You need to look at this and understand what's going on, and you got to understand what applies to you. So when you get ghosts in the system, I teach you all of this. One of the things I want to tell everybody is right here. A lot of people don't know that we're under this, the Hague Convention. So it says a Hague Convention signatory. So you got to understand the difference between the signature and the autograph. You got to understand the difference between how to endorse a contract and how not to endorse a contract. I teach you all these legal strategies so you can understand how to win at this game. So this is Keng El Bey. I'm signing out. This is a brief video giving you some descriptive of ghosts in the system and how it works. And the work is phenomenal. You get all these contracts. I put this comprehensive system together and I made it very simple so that you can understand how this works. Peace and love to everybody who watched and who continues to support. This is Ghost in the System 21, I would say, explaining Ghost in the System. Peace.